Good morning, everyone. Today we're joined by Oceania's Director of Sales for Australia and New Zealand, Trevor. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Lovely to have you. Now, with cruising being on pause for the moment, what's the focus for Oceania now?
For us, we've been doing our best just to stay in contact with our key trade partners and our guests as much as we can. Obviously, there's a lot going on in the world right now, so I wouldn't say we've been sending direct mail pieces or electronic mail pieces as regularly as we normally would, but just trying to keep people inspired about what to do, because at the end of the day, this isn't going to last forever. So at some point, we'll be back in the water and people will be cruising on our fabulous product.
Yeah, well, look, we can see, we wish we were there at the moment on that background.
Yeah, look, poolside sounds pretty good to me as well.
And personally, what do you love it most about Oceania?
Look, I've been in the cruise industry for over 15 years, and I've been on a variety of different brands, and there's a lot of emphasis in the industry about not running out of things to do, not being bored. What I love about Oceania is it's not rammed down your throat. It's very casual, very relaxed. Everything from sitting in the coffee shop to poolside to sitting in one of our restaurants. It's not rushed. You don't come to one of our dining experiences expecting to be in and out in 45 minutes. You sit down for an hour and 45 or 2 hours, and it's a genuine dining experience. So I guess in a word, I like the casualness.
Yeah, lovely. Well, let's talk about the size of the ships, why the small ships are beneficial, and the staff to crew ratio.
Look, there's a few points when it comes down to the size of the ship, because obviously any brand will argue the pros and cons of whatever they've got. But from a smaller ship size, the obvious one is you've got fewer passengers on board, and especially times like now, it feels great to be able to say that our ships feature between 680 and 1,250 guests. It's quite intimate on the global scale. But from a hardware perspective, what it means is that we can get into a lot of places that the bigger brands can't. And because of our lower passenger numbers, we're not dependent on the major hubs for turnarounds. So if you take Europe, for example, a lot of the larger brands will focus on Rome and Athens and Barcelona. For us, one of our key Mediterranean itineraries is Monaco to Lisbon, which I think the larger ships would really struggle with that. So for us, we can take advantage of smaller, more niche ports, which also have a lot shallower entries. So our ships can get right up close to places that some of our competitors can only dream of. And from a staff to crew ratio, this is one of the points that I love about our brand. You hear a lot of ratios thrown about, like we've got a 3-to-1 ratio of guests to staff, or 4-to-1. For our culinary team alone, we have a 4-to-1 ratio. So for every 4 guests, we have 1 culinary member. But from a total crew perspective, depending on the ship, we have between a 1.5 and a 1.7 all-encompassing ratio.
Oh, wow. Okay. What differentiates Oceania to other luxury lines?
I think the key word that you use there is luxury. I think the defining factor that most brands would talk about for luxury would be all-inclusive. And we, in that regard, are not an all-inclusive line. So for us, we offer, you obviously can't purchase food on board. So all of our specialty restaurants, all of our main restaurants are included. All of the specialty coffees are included. All of our soft drinks and juices and milks, etc., are all inclusive. The big thing that we find is, believe it or not, a lot of Australians aren't that big of drinkers. We find a lot of people saying the thing that I struggle with the full luxury lines is that essentially I'm paying for somebody else's amenities. Okay. And so we consider ourselves inclusive by choice. So with every booking made in Australia and New Zealand, we have our O-Life choice. So guests can choose to have either a drinks package, an onboard credit package, or a shore excursion allocation so that
That's the way
they
you
can
like. Yeah.
enjoy some inclusions without feeling like they are having to pay for an all-inclusive experience that they may not necessarily take advantage of.
Yeah, of course. How many ships do you normally bring down to Australia?
Globally, we actually have a fleet of just 6. So we have a local deployment generally over summer. Generally, one of our smaller ships, Regatta, arrives in the first week of December and is generally departing in February. So it's a relatively short local season. But we also have, depending on the itinerary of the round world voyage, the insignia can sometimes come through. So this coming summer and the following summer, we would have 2 ships coming through.
Amazing. That's what we like to hear. We've got so many people asking us about bridge and galley visits. Is this something that's possible to do on board?
Absolutely. Look, it's a really interesting thing to do. Again, I think for people who've not sailed before or sailed before and never seen the back of office sort of setup, the galley tours are genuinely amazing. For us, ours, you can argue either way whether it's more or less interesting because a lot of other ships pre-prepare food, whereas for us, everything's prepared a la minute. So what you'll see is if you walked into our galleys, everybody would be working quite hard. It's a working galley, whereas some others you might find are just stored with things that have been made in the what would you call it, off-peak times.
Yeah. Well, you do say finest cuisine at sea, so definitely a very unique experience to do on board. What's the strangest request you've received?
Strange requests. Look, we get quite a lot of them. Again, most of them come from an area of just a complete lack of understanding of the scale of an operation at sea. But occasionally you'll come across one that you've really got to try hard not to laugh at. And years ago, I had a guest who was very keen to book a round the world voyage, but was only happy to do so if she could get a cabin next door to store all of her plush toys, because she only traveled around the world with her room full of plush toys.
Did she go ahead?
She did, or I should say they went ahead. You've got to work hard not to let your jaw hit the ground when you have those sorts of questions, but everybody's different.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that. What's the most popular itineraries that guests are inquiring about at the moment?
The big thing, I think, in the current environment would be closer to home. Obviously, we have, as I mentioned just before, a fairly limited local program, which includes a circumnavigation of Australia and a few sailings to New Zealand. But also in recent weeks, we've had a bit of a run on Singapore to Sydney and even Tokyo to Sydney. So these cruises aren't exactly short. There's an 18-nighter and a 34-nighter if you go from Tokyo, which is great to see that people have got the confidence.
Definitely.
I think it's fair to say that most people are looking to next year from an international perspective. So for us, we're not trying to rush things. There's no points for coming in too quickly. So what we're looking at is pretty much next year.
Yeah. And for those that are watching, we do have a nice little promotions page up on our website as well with all those close to home itineraries. So if Oceania is where you're looking, definitely jump on our website and you can find those nice and easy to find on the website. So I guess any special offers that are going at the moment that we can, entice our guests to think Oceania?
Yeah, look, at the moment we have the ultimate sale in play, which has basically meant some significant price drops. The aforementioned O-Life choice is definitely a part of it. So on each sailing, you'll get either a choice of your free beverage package, up to 8 free shore excursions, and up to $800 US shipboard credit. The other obvious things are the complimentary internet, complimentary gratuities. And the really great thing is that if in the coming months an offer comes out that you think is a little bit better than what you've booked on, we're more than happy to protect that and move you on to the new deal.
Yeah, perfect. Peace of mind. That's what everyone's, wanting at the moment for future travel.
Absolutely.
So, and our last question we have: when will you be cruising again, and to where?
Look, I am desperate to trial the cruise that I mentioned before, the Monaco to Lisbon.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a Formula One fan, so the idea of
Okay.
sailing out of there would be an amazing experience.
Yeah.
But look, that at best is likely to happen next year. If the clouds part and the sunshine comes through, I'd like to think I'll be on a cruise somewhere locally over Christmas. But who knows?
We'll see. It's all a bit of a waiting game at the moment, but
It
look,
really
a lot
is.
of excitement out there. So we're certainly excited to get all these deals out to everyone, and future travel is looking a little bit closer, hopefully. So,
Look,
well,
at the very least, confidence is rising, so that's a good start.
that's what we want. Well, Trevor, thank you so much for your time. We really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I'm sure we'll see you around soon.
See you on the seas somewhere soon.